Sometimes when I make a video about Valve, people are like, "Oh, how do you get that job? How do you get to do that? Like that sounds like fun. Like that's super great." So ignore like the actual hiring of the job, but once you're there, you do it by solving problems and doing the stuff nobody else wants to do. So here's like some examples of things that you just don't complain about and you just go do. World Cyber Games are going on. Saudi Arabia is going to do the Olympic Cyber Games or something next year. It's all stupid. It's 2007. Nobody's showing up to this thing, so they're like, "Hey, you can show your game here for free." We're like, "Okay." Again, 2007, Left 4 Dead, right? Nobody's there. So half the time I'm there playing with other people because there's just nobody else in there, and it's fun. I'm hanging out. I like my game. So, like, that's an opportunity just to hang out and play my game and see other stuff. Sure, I'm easy to please. But then they go to close the event for the night. Like, it's 6 o'clock, go home. No, 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 no. The event goes to 11 for the contest of, like, the, competition. But it's in the same space as the games are being shown, and there's no way to lock stuff up or put stuff away, so anyone can just wander over and steal everything. So I'm going to sit there and watch the Olympic thing or whatever. The big game. I can't remember any other game. The big game there was 3D Pool. This is 2007. It's 3D Pool. Think of the music that 3D Pool game plays in 2007, like that bad MIDI ragtime stuff on giant speakers just blaring. They didn't turn the music down during the competition so you could hear the people competing. No. They cranked the music up. It still plays in my head, I think. So, but I just, no complaints. I do it, whatever. And then you solve problems, right? So I'm in Warwick, England. And we're going to do an event there. And this guy is delivering computers that we're going to use for the event. And they're like 386s or something. They're just pieces of junk. And it's like 10 p.m. And we're like, dude, you screwed us. Like, we're supposed to start tomorrow at like 10 a.m. I'm jet lagged. I drove there. Oh my God, am I bad at driving in England? Whew. All right. But like, I'm there. And he's just like, well, let's go to the pub. We tried. Like good old, English try or something. I'm like, no, dude, we got to solve this problem. Like, you got to solve problems like that, right? You don't complain. You don't give up. So ends up I made a deal with an esports team that they were having a TF2 competition and I would hold up a giant check for the winner or something, like announce the winner. And for that, they'd give us their 4 backup machines that they had for the event. I'm like, I can do that. We get that set up. I get a hold of a big giant check too. That's pretty cool. Like I'm easy to please. So we get that set up, right? And that guy, we solve the problem. But then after I give out the big giant check, this editor from a magazine comes over who's sick and shakes my hand and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, oh. So I'm going over to Moscow. Moscow's fun, but I'm sick. I get sick on the plane. I could tell like that guy who shook my hand already made me sick. So I'm sick as a dog. Already solved one problem over there. Go over to Russia, and every single person's telling me this is when the game's unreleased, right? And we're trying a new publisher. They're fine. They're nice people, but everyone at the whole place is like telling me all the stuff they pirate. But then they get to our games, they're like, "Oh, but we don't pirate those." Sure, you don't. But whatever, who cares? Right, we set up at the event, and I'm like, I'm not going to leave the game installed here. I don't trust anybody. So I delete some stuff, and I'm going to bring it back in. But then I'm getting sick. I am sweating. There's this goo coming out of my face. I'm a waterfall of sweat. So I'm trying to hydrate as much as I can. And then this woman who doesn't speak any English gives me this pill to help me. I'm like, okay. It's literally just a pill, no box, nothing, just the pill. So I take the pill. I think it's a big pill. It's a weird pill, but I take it. Do you know what Alka-Seltzer is? It's like Alka-Seltzer, where you're supposed to put it in water and it foams up and then you drink that. No one told me that, so I'm foaming out of the mouth. What it does to your gastrointestinal. I was a little gassy. That's all going on. I'm doing the event. I'm standing in front and speaking to people and like doing the whole thing, and I just go do it. And eventually I just start drinking beer because why not? But like you just go solve the problem and do it. You don't complain, and like it's funny later. But man, at that moment I was just And then MTV Moscow interviewed me, and they like put a bright light in my face, and I thought it was like the KGB, and it made me laugh, and I was already so out of my mind that I think I never want to see that interview. But like That is how you get to do fun stuff, by just don't complain and solve problems and get the crappy stuff done. Now, the other way to do it probably is to be smart and really good at your job. I don't have that ability, but I could do this other stuff. So no matter what, I just stick it out. Did you know the very first job I ever did at Valve, the very first thing that I ever could look at and go, oh, I did something, was the Day of Defeat source webpage? I complained there wasn't a web page for it, and I thought there should be, because we really played it a lot back then, before release. And someone was like, well, just go make one then. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, in fact, now it's your job to go make one. So I made it. Q, the artist, did all the layout. That's why it looks pretty, but it's still up today with everything that I did on it. But like, you just solve problems, get the work done, and do it, and don't complain. And I'm always gonna make jokes about it and laugh about it. That's how I deal with stuff, right? But yeah, that is the best advice I can give. Or be really smart. That'd be the other. It's probably life's probably a lot easier if you're really smart. But for the rest of us.